are like preschool and elementary. You know what I mean? You got to keep stepping up and improving your knowledge and not sticking with the same sons of bitches who are saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
Like I get it. There's people still waking up and people still wondering about bug out bags and all this other shit. But it's if you look at it kind of like Hannity. When I first got into politics, it was Rush Limbaugh and Hannity. That's what introduced me to conservatism. And then once I got to a point where it's like I know what they're talking about, I don't need them anymore because I need to elevate my understanding of what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? You got to keep potential, moving up that fucking ladder. Otherwise, you ain't
Right.
doing shit. Playing. It's all
Exactly.
fucking
And
confusing.
it led me on the whole like thought train. Like if that's true about being a prepper and being under the umbrella of preparedness, preparedness is a mindset. Prepper, I'm a prepper, but that's not all I am because like I say, you graduate and you become something different and you pick an avenue. What are you going to be? Are you
Right.
going to go in homestead? Are you going to be off grid? Are you going to be a farmer? What's the next step? Because, if you're stuck in being a prepper and you've been doing it for 10, 20 years, you're missing something. You're not really, you've missed something. You're not really prepping. You're going to build a compound. You're going to be a survivalist. Like, what is your next step? Like, you have to go from there or you're just stagnant. And once you
Yeah,
become
'cause
stagnant, you're not prepared anymore.
just stacking shit ain't gonna do nothing. Especially if you do have to bug out. What's the point of having 10 years worth of food in a bug out bag? You know what I mean? It's kind of counterproductive. You know what I mean? And there's nuance, of course, but you know what I mean. Like if you've got all that food and all this other gear, and it's literally one single thing could destroy your whole game plan, and then you're fucked. You know what I mean? You've been relying on 10, 20 years worth of food, and now you're living out of a backpack in the woods somewhere. You know what I mean? It's the culture shock alone is going to be enough to kill most people just because
Right.
I had all this comfort back at the house, and then it turns into the what ifs and all that other bullshit. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
stacking ain't enough to keep you alive. Stacking's enough to keep the people who come in after you are gone, to keep them alive for a while. You know what I mean? That's
Right. And
Yeah.
even like being a survivalist, like eventually you have to graduate from that. You can't be a survivalist your whole life because life is not about just surviving. Eventually you have to thrive. You can't bring children into a world where you're just surviving. You know what I mean? And I mean, you have to grow beyond that. That's why I said there's a kind of an umbrella of preparedness or prepared people, prepared minded people. Like I said, it's a lifestyle. It's a culture, and a lot of
Absolutely.
people fit under that. Like, and I feel like if you're really serious about living a certain way, you begin to become under all these different things. You're a prepper, you're a homesteader, or a farmer, or a gardener, whatever. You're a survivalist. You're learning how to survive in different situations. You're learning what it takes to keep people alive. You're learning medicine, stuff like that. And also something that I'm weak on is bushcrafting. And I've been trying to practice different things with that because that's another umbrella of preparedness too. But I don't know. It started me down a whole train of thought with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Some people ain't gonna need a whole lot of bushcrafting because some of the survival is gonna be in the cities. Some of the survival is gonna be in suburban places and shit like that. It's not all gonna be out in the deep woods. Some of it's gonna be, but some of it you're gonna be in the parts of cities and maybe not city, but little cities, little towns, little places where, man, it's a huge thing to survive when shit hits the fan. Y'all are right. It ain't just stacking up some stuff, but it's everything on a come up too. Like you got to be smart. You got to be street smart. I think you'll have. If you don't have any street smarts whatsoever, you're not going to survive when shit hits the fan.
Truth,
right.
Yeah.
fact, and
Man.
even like you said, like I know bushcraft is really associated with the woods and stuff like that, and it is. That's what it means. But like you said, try living in the city. People are still going to need to be able to fabricate things, to take machines or whatever that were used for this before shift, and now how can you take that apart and apply it and make something so that you can survive, so that you can collect water, so that you can produce energy. Pop B, what's up, man?
What's cracking, y'all?
Another thing too is the imagination. Like if you're in the city, you've got so many different places. you got storm drains, you got dumpsters, you know what I mean? Just so many different opportunities to be, you know, I'll say bushcraft only is the term bushcraft just because it was around longer than people in cities were trying to survive like that. You know what I mean? So you can be urban bushcrafting. I've seen videos on it. You know what I mean? Just look at any homeless motherfucker out there. That's exactly what they're doing is urban bushcraft.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Hey, can I say this? Just for me, I'm actually in a different space. It's kind of like what you were talking about, Native, as far as prepping and stuff. Because seriously, since Y2, I've been doing this since Y2K. You know what I'm saying? And you can go through the list and I can check off damn near everything. The solar, you know what I mean? Water filtration, protective items, pews. So for me, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually kind of hard for me to make a video about water filtration, about pews, about tactics, defending your home, bugging in, bugging out. What should be in your bug out bag at this point in the game? You know what I mean? And I'm sorry, fam. But now that I see how things are changing, now that I see where we're going, and I actually see why we have been prepping. You know what I mean? I see the fight that is coming our way. That's probably why I've been leaning more towards like being mentally prepared and the spiritual aspects of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you said, we've been prepping for years. We've done the things, and yeah, it's cool to do a video about bug out bags, and which knives should you have, and you know what I'm saying, scopes and accessories and things like that. But guys, they're turning up the volume on this thing right now, and this shit is getting real. And what I'm really realizing as far as being like in the preparedness mindset is that the mental aspect of what we're about to really have to do is what is seriously gonna push us to use our physical preps and everything else. You know what I mean? Because I mean, we're in the mix, man. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been thinking about something, man. You know how I always talk about the government. Y'all know I go off on the government, and it's all about control, and they don't give a shit about us. And I believe these things wholeheartedly. To my soul, since I was a young kid, I looked at anything authority like that. I mean, I never had a father, so I never had that. So I got a different way coming from a little dude, and I was taught different. But I'm starting to think a little bit about this. The belief thing, believing, you know what I'm saying? And I put out that little video earlier. Ain't trying to plug it. I'm just saying, I started thinking about, man, if people don't believe, if you don't believe in church ain't going to work. To you, it's not going to work. If you don't believe in church is nothing to you. If you don't believe in your wife, that marriage is going to fail. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't believe in government, that government's not going to work. They have to keep us believing. And at the same time, they got to keep us not believing in ourselves. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, we ain't going to work. We ain't going to make it. And they'll have control of us. So at the same time, they need us to believe in them. They need us not to believe in ourselves, man. And I was really thinking about that shit deep and thinking about a whole bunch of different things to go with it. And I was like, man, I wonder if the fellas ever thought about this like this.
Oh, absolutely. See, that's exactly why I did the lifestyle that I did. You know what I mean? Just moved down here is because, hey, I'm you know what I mean? Y'all know my my deal, my history to a certain extent. You know what I mean? So it's you get involved in some of those things, and a lot of the world just ain't fucking with you. You know what I mean? You've got to spend so much time kissing ass just to get in at the bottom fucking level to stay there. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, I've got enough confidence in myself to think that, hey, I can pull this shit off. You know what I mean? And that's literally all it takes is just being saying, hey, I can do this shit and just fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like the worst that's going to happen is you're going to fail, but you might as well at least know where your line's at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know a lot of us, I don't know how many on the panel, how many in the chat, but a lot of us have been in survival mode for a long fucking time. I was in survival mode so fucking bad that when I would get in a good place, and like I've been in a good place where it ain't really survival mode, I still think like survival mode. I still think everything is all fucked up, and I don't have. But tomorrow everything could be gone type mind. You know what I'm saying? Because coming up, my whole life was survival. Period. And I don't need to be taught that shit. I don't need to know how to live with nothing. I've lived with nothing many times. I've been around the worst of the worst, from people who have killed, people who have tried to kill, to people who have raped, to people who have. I've been around the worst of the worst. I mean, I grew up fucking 3 minutes from the DC, Southeast DC line, in the 80s and 90s. And if y'all know anything about the history of America, DC wasn't no fucking joke back then, and Maryland still ain't no fucking joke with Baltimore. And I'm not trying to say pity me or nothing, but what I'm saying is survival is in me. And that's one of the things you got to have in your fucking soul if you're gonna make it. That's why when shit hits the fan, there's gonna be a lot of dead motherfuckers, man. It ain't gonna be a whole lot of people.
Nothing in this world educates you like street knowledge, plain and simple. You know what I mean? You get out there and you actually and you live in them fucking gutters. You will learn shit that most people in this country could never even dream of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you can pick up on fake shit a lot. You can pick up on fake shit a lot, man. You can pick on if you've been in situations a lot, you've lived your life that way, and you've been in these things. When somebody comes along and tries to act like that, you automatically know, nah, motherfucker. You sense it all over. You can smell it. You're like, man, this motherfucker's so fake. It's just like I would know a person if they just started selling drugs and they come up to me and you know what I'm saying? I would automatically be, you're going to get ate up and spit. Get ready for a long haul, man, because it's not as easy as you think is what I would tell them. You know what I'm saying? I know a motherfucker who's trying to act hard, act tough. You're all up in here. I smell it on you, bro. I've been around tough motherfuckers. I know tough. You're not it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it. But that goes with prepping harder than a motherfucker. I'm happy to be who the fuck I am and been through all the shit that I've been through, man. So I am in this situation because when shit hits the fan, at least I'll have the mindset to be able to maneuver.
I hear that. I was like, we were talking earlier, what led on this train of thought. What leads us to think that way? Because I think we all have that same mindset. What you just described, Tribe. Being from the street, Hutch experiencing that. Me and Pop B being in combat. Anyone who experiences humanity on a level to where you're pit against another human being for survival, whatever it is, it's a symptom of our broken, corrupt, society. It really is. Our society's been broken and perverted for decades. My whole life, as far as I can tell. And the poorest of us have to experience that. But it can force you to where you're an outlier. Once you see society for what it really is and the worst of what it can do and what it can be. I grew up in an abusive home. Man, my dad used to beat the shit out of us, man. But he grew up that way. His dad beat the shit out of him. He was a non-vet. He still has flashbacks and nightmares from the shit he went through in Nam as a Marine, a grunt. It fucked him up, and then he fucked me and my brother up, but there's healing that comes from that. But without getting all that, I said that to say that once you experience that and you see society for what it is, you can become an outlier. And that's what I was touching on that last video I dropped, being an outlier. And that's where I was leading with all the graduating beyond just being a prepper because of what we're seeing now. Josh just hit on it. We all saw Joe Biden's 1984 V for Vendetta speech.
Right.
That was the most divisive presidential speech I've ever seen in my life, man. But I think they're doing this on purpose. Tribe, you hit on it. They don't do anything on accident. Everything they do is intentional. And I think they do one thing that will touch on many things that they're planning. I think they want us to collapse. That's why you have to graduate beyond just being a prepper. You can't just prep for 1 or 2 years. You got to think long term, man. You got to think, okay, I've got 2 years of food. That gives me 2 years of time that where we don't have to worry about the basic necessity of life. We have food and water covered. What can I do in those 2 years so that me and my family aren't just surviving, we're thriving?
Yep.
And that goes into what Hutch does with community building. You know, you got to have people, man. Pop B talks about this all the time. You know, all of us try to be hard asses and say if someone shows up at our house wanting food, we're gonna kill them or kick them to the curb. Pop B has a different scenario in mind. Prep people, use them. Do they have skills? He's not saying, you know, be best friends with them and bring everybody into your circle, but he's got a point. We're going to need each other, especially if they're planning to collapse us. What is their plan for us after they collapse us?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
Yeah.
They're destroying your why right now. They're destroying your why. I mean, how many people really love America right now that live in America? You're taking away your reason for fight. That's why, Josh, you guys are talking, and Tribe, you were talking about believing, and you're talking about spiritualism and all that kind of stuff. You have to have that why. You guys have a why right there. But you start tearing apart everything and destroying. It's like lighting your house on fire and telling you to go in there and put it out with buckets of water like you care about it.
I think what they're counting on right now, I think what Biden and the person who wrote that speech and all the people backing him, I think what they're counting on right now is that there is a very minimal amount of Americans that will stand the fuck up and hold down America. And with that speech and the things that they're doing and the lists that they're making and the people that are watching us, I think they're trying to find out who those minimal amount of people really are. And then they're ready to just take the whole bag. They want the whole bag.
Exactly.
They really do. They don't want us to have that I know it's been said 1,000 times, but you ain't gonna have nothing and you'll like it. Because they want the whole bag.
Yes.
right.
Everything.
Well, that's what you got to look at too. Is like, I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and say that everybody on this panel has been black pilled like a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Protesting and holding signs don't do a damn thing anymore, and they know that. They know that
Elections aren't going to save us either.
even though there's 50 million people out there holding up signs talking about, you know, the government sucks, they know ain't 50 million people about to fight. There's only going to be a couple thousand. You know what I mean? They don't need to focus on all the distractions and the noise of you waving banners and chanting shit. You know what I mean? They're because you're irrelevant. They know you ain't going to do shit. At this point, if you're still holding signs, they know you ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
Facts.
And let me clarify. I'm not telling you not to vote in an election or anything. I'm going to vote in every election until we can't anymore. But at this point, I'm voting for the candidate who's going to mitigate our circumstances and give us more time to prepare. Because in the end, they're all a part of the same corrupt system. And no matter who wins, if Trump wins in 2024 and Ron DeSantis is his running mate, and then Ron DeSantis does, we get 12 years of them. At the end, we're still in the same corrupt system with the same people in charge and control. And I don't think they're going to let that happen anyway. Look what they're doing, everything they can to stop the man from running, man. Let's wake up. Yes, let's vote for the right people, but at the same time, let's get ready for the worst scenario possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, it can happen here literally overnight. America could look like Detroit. You know what I mean? Like the whole fucking country in a matter of days, weeks. You know what I mean? We see how fast stuff moves. Especially
they crashed our economy in less than a year because of COVID. They did it on purpose. A year. Best economy in 50 years under Trump. They crashed it in less than a year.
And it was their first try too. You know what I mean? Like there was no big plan about it. It was like, hey, look, let's try this, and boom, it worked. You know what I mean? The system is too.
What about eye for an eye, man? You know, if we could get 200 million Americans tomorrow to say, hey, I ain't paying another dime in taxes. Fuck you. You can't lock up 200 million motherfuckers. If you had 250 million Americans say, we ain't playing in your voting, your crooked voting system. We ain't having none of that. we're not even showing up. 250 million Americans say fuck you and the people you're putting in front of us. You know what I'm saying? That would make a difference. You know what I'm saying? But there has to be something that comes along that's powerful enough to wake everybody the hell up and say, can't you see what the fuck they're doing? Can't you see what these people are doing? How can you be so damn stupid? How can you be so locked into watching your fucking news stations that you ain't got a fucking 3 brain cells to realize that you shouldn't be falling for, oh, I'm on this side. I'm on this side. Oh, I like this and you like that, so I hate you. And I mean, it's so ridiculous, and it's so hard to fight, man, because no matter who you talk to, you can have people say, man, I've sat here with my uncle and he said he's quit the Democratic Party and went independent. And then I sit here and talk to him for 30 minutes about politics and shit. And you can hear it in his soul. He's so left leaning and shit. And it's like, man, you can say whatever you want, but they got you by the balls, man. They got you by the balls because you're so locked in and in tune with the shit you reading and the shit you watching on TV. You can't escape it. How do we get people to escape that? Because that's our only fucking weapon, man, is to get them unlocked from this grip they got on people, man.
Yeah.
Try. Hey,
Like I think. Oh my bad. Go ahead.
no, you good. Go ahead.
No, it's all you. It's all you.
Bro, they look, they just financed, what was it, 87,000 new IRS agents who could possibly be armed. You know what I'm saying? And
An army.
I hear what you're saying, bro, but right now, everybody that's watching, maybe not everybody, we're all paying taxes. We're still funding this stuff that we're fighting against.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're building that army.
You know what it is? People are stuck in the cult of the United States of America instead of realizing what it's supposed to be and what it used to be. And it hasn't been for 100 years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what we're preaching is not giving up on this current system. Absolutely. This current system is not America. If you want to work and stay in this system, you've given up. You're the one who has quit. You said, oh, we'll never beat their system. We might as well work within it and see what we can do. We've been doing this for 50 years. The Democrats put their guy in there, and then the Republicans put their guy in there, and then the Democrats. You've been doing this for 50 years. They're all the same. They're all in cahoots. The worst thing that happened to our country is these two political parties put themselves in power and made you believe that they're the only choices.
Yeah.
You're the one that's given up and accepted your place in the matrix, man. We're just trying to wake you up. That's what a black pill is. Wake up.
Yeah.
I look at it like I don't think there's been enough. People haven't had enough hard times to actually understand what they could lose. You know what I mean? They take for granted the luxuries that they wake up with every day. You got a toilet, you got water in your sink. You know what I mean? You can go to the grocery, you can go to the gas station and have more food options than most third world countries. You know what I mean? People take that shit for granted. I think a lot of people need to start suffering before there's going to be any kind of change. Otherwise, it's just going to be the status quo.
Exactly.
I want to ask you.
It is what it is.
I want to ask y'all a question, man, because I've heard this a lot. Like, 2020, the big experiment. Oh, how much has the government learned from 2020? They were doing it to learn what was going to happen, what we were going to do, right? We've talked about these things, but then I thought to myself, man, because, I always go against the grain. And I thought to myself, well, what the fuck didn't we learn? You know what I'm saying? Didn't we learn something from 2020? Haven't we learned what this government's doing? We're just going to let them roll right back into whatever the fuck they want to roll into and forget all the shit that we realized when 2020 hit, how we're all slaves for this goddamn system, how we could do the same damn job sitting on our fucking couch as going in there and bowing down to some punk ass motherfucker screaming at you because he thinks he's some king shit because he makes $2 more than you. Haven't we learned that our kids our kids can learn without having to be shoved under some people that you don't even know who they are? You don't even know these people you're sending your kids to. I mean, all the shit we learned in 2020, and yet look what's happening. It's not only going back to the same old shit, but it's even worse, and they're adding their bullshit on top of it, making it worse. And we're not saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing. No, we got gas prices done doubled. We got food prices doubled, tripled. What the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing, man?
That's what I was saying about the 87,000 new IRS agents. Look, we are allowing the enemy to make moves in broad daylight. And we're basically saying, it's okay. Sure. Do it. There should have been protests and marches and everything that you could think of against 87,000 armed IRS agents. But that's the game that they're playing, man. That's what I'm saying. That is the game that they're showing us what they are doing. Water, not to get ahead of water, is not going to rainwater is not going to be safe, and that's what they want us to do. Just think about that for a second.
Did you hear about somebody put out a video? Somebody in the chat might have seen it too. Somebody put out a video talking about how they're starting to attack people's private property wells in California. Yep. They're going to take the rights of your property, your water.
Oh, eminent domain.
I don't know exactly what it was.
They're putting meters.
I was
they're putting meters on the wells. That way they can monitor how much water you're taking.
For your private well on your property. It was survival living. It was survival living. That's who it was.
Yeah, I think right, John?
My favorite thing is how they sit
wells.
They took everyone's job and livelihood.
Hey, you know what's next? You know what's next, right? If they control your water, the next is they'll tax you for the amount of water you use, since they're monitoring how much water comes out of it. And you're going to have to pay for the water that comes out of the ground from your land.
Yes. Yeah.
Y'all want to preserve this system? That's what I'm saying, man. Like who wants to be a part of this? Our society is sick. It really is. And think about it. I mean, we talk about being free in America, but I mean, are we free from debt? Are we free from worry? Are we free from stress? Are we getting up every morning and spending 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day doing something that we love and that brings us fulfillment and joy that we don't have to bring home and just, you know what I mean? And that's our society. Our entire society is based on that, for us being laborers and not being happy.
We got a privately owned prison system with over 4 million people in prison, privately owned, but get government contracts to get money to run them jokers. So look at what that brings. If I lock some motherfuckers up, I'm gonna get more money. It ain't ever gonna stop. And you wonder why when you get locked up, you get put on this damn thing where 87% of the people that get out of jail go right back. Well, hell yeah. Every time you leave jail, they losing money. Who wants to lose money? It's a business. Right. It's not about they care about the next man or they care what this man's doing. It's about money, period.
Yeah.
And we're free. This is the free land. We got more motherfuckers locked up in America than any other place in the world. How can you call this a free land?
Ridiculous. And what's
the same thing with the
medication. It does. The incarcerated people don't even get the rehabilitation they should. That should be the point of incarcerating someone once they've broken the law, to rehabilitate them so they can be a functioning member of society. Our system is nowhere near that. It never has been. They come out more hardened and brutal. And then when they go out and try to get a job and actually try to lift themselves out of that, the system is designed to keep them down. Like it's hard for a felon to get a job. I know my brother-in-law has been a felon since he was 18. It's so hard for him to find work.
And on top of that, Native, is what's so brutal to me about the prison system is the motherfuckers locking people up are doing the same crimes, worse crimes than the people they're locking up. The higher heads that are building these laws are breaking this. These people making the laws, they're making laws for us, not them, because they're breaking the laws. They're locking people up, they're indicting people, and they're doing and they prove that shit right to us. And I hate to bring up presidents and Trump and shit like this. They're sitting there trying to impeach Trump while they're putting another dude in office who's proof on TV for doing the thing that they're impeaching Trump for.
Yes.
And you're gonna sit here and tell me that this no, the whole thing is broken. Everything's fractured. There's something that has to change throughout this entire fucking system. Period.
That's what it is. It's all the money game. America is a board game. You know what I mean? You got the prison system, the healthcare system, all that shit is tied in. What do we got? America is 14% of the global population, but takes 95% of the pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
I mean, it's a whole fucked up system, man. It needs to just stop. Like I know, hey, y'all know how, like, I'm a war hawk. I've never fucking hit it. I think people need to fucking suffer, because the softer we get, the more enslaved we're gonna get. That's literally all it is. Motherfuckers would rather die for a promise of something getting better than actually taking the effort to make it better themselves. You know what I mean? Like that faith in the unknown, you know, the almighty God, the government. That's what it is now. Government is the religion. We got to have faith in Jesus Biden. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it's fucking coming down to. He says we'll be all right, so we'll be all right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's literally what the fuck we're seeing right.
And like that whole thing with with Brittany Griner, you know, getting locked up because she had weed in Russia, and they want to exchange like a violent Russian arms dealer for her. The first thing they should have done is released everyone in the United States who's locked up because of weed. That's the first step. Then you can trade someone for her, because that's what's fucking fair. I'm tired of this elitism. This elitism BS.
I didn't see that one coming, Native, but I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? Especially Kamala Harris. Man, she incarcerated so many people because of marijuana and bragged about it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go on and say it wasn't a big deal, and how she smoked weed and laugh about it and stuff.
Yeah. She kept people in prison past their term so they would have to work.
Yep.
Pat, they a minimum of 3 years. They're doing 3.5 years because they need 6 more months. That's slavery. And then motherfuckers back this motherfucker, man.
Yep.
And that's the truth. These are facts. This ain't some made up shit that people, just because people want to hate on. I don't like hating on women. I would love to back the first vice president that's a female, but she was crooked. Period. And then she fed on the people that she enslaved. She fed on the people that she enslaved. Because it was Black America she was attacking in California.
Yeah.
And then beg for the vote. Even though I put Uncle Ray in prison for 30 years for 20 grams, you know what I mean? I'm gonna still need you to vote for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what
it's ludicrous. There's 25 states in our union that have legalized it at the state level. What are they doing?
Yeah.
It's a ploy. They can use it later on down the road.
Up, man.
Yeah.
It's weird times we live in, man. We're letting all this this modern shit and 100 years of technology erase millions of years of evolution and progress. You know what I mean? Like actual fighting. We got to a point to where we're so sophisticated that we're above any kind of physical violence because it's below us. No, it ain't. Fuck that. We live in different fucking worlds. It ain't below me. You know what I mean? This violence is necessary for any animal kingdom, and that's exactly what we are. Humans are animals. You need violence to establish certain boundaries and things. You know what I mean? I don't see how running away from it is going to ever give anybody a chance of freedom or any kind of independence at all. If that's literally what you're doing, is running away from any kind of violence, any kind of fight, any kind of drama. You know what I mean? You're supposed to embrace that shit, just like training. You know, you deal with it and then you go about your day. That way you have that experience. You know,
yeah.
I got something that kind of goes along with that, because they use violence. We haven't. I think one of our mistakes is we haven't protected the people that speak up like we have in the past. How many people have been murked because they come out and they try to spread truth, but they have a big voice, a real big voice, not 100 people in the chat, but they have millions of people that listen, and then all of a sudden they get 2 shots in the back of the head and it's a suicide, or this person jumped off a fucking 17-story building, but he was happy as shit 2 hours ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not even protecting the people that are trying to fight for us. They get rid of them.
Yeah.
It comes a point where you don't have no other choice, man. It's either stand up or we're just going to lay down and it's all gone. Period.
Let me see if this ties into maybe kind of sort of to what we're talking about, right? But we were chatting about this, you know what I'm saying, before we went live and everything. But so I've caught a couple of videos lately, the livable wage, right? And I guess we can say that this is kind of how like they divide us in our thoughts, in our thinking. This is the games that they play. So for me, just like everybody else, the last year and a half, it's like there's been so many jobs out here, and everybody's like, why aren't these younger people taking these, retail jobs, these fast food jobs? They're paying $15 an hour. Why aren't they taking these jobs? Are they lazy? And I'm not gonna lie to you, to a lot of older people, it's just like, yeah, they're just lazy. They're just liberals. They want to just live in their parents' basement. They're just, you know what I mean? But to be honest with you, with this economy, $15 an hour, no matter what job it is not a livable wage. And I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying that the younger people shouldn't go get a trade or shouldn't go get educated. But $15 an hour is $600 a week. After taxes, it's probably $525. In a one-bedroom apartment nowadays in this economy, it's gonna run you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. So you're gonna work that job for the entire month just to make that rent payment. That's not a car payment. That's not cell phone. That's nothing else. That is not feeding yourself. That's not an inflated gas price. So just the youth themselves, the disconnect is that we don't understand why they aren't working. But even if they work, they can't live off what is there.
And that's why you have so many people under the welfare system. I mean, I wonder how many people are under the welfare system right now. And I'm not shitting on them because there was a time when I needed welfare to help me. I had 3 kids. Life went down the drain and I needed help for a minute. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And I know lots of people that have. I'm not downing nobody for it. But it seemed to me like that's a good plan for the government. Make it unaffordable. So you got to come to them, get the fucking begging going on. Like, please, government, help me.
Yes.
Because I can't fucking make it. And boom, bam, bip. That's more control. If we don't like, the thing, you don't own nothing. You be happy and don't own nothing.
Look, they'll be happy. They will be happy with you will own nothing and be happy. They will be happy. Oh, you're gonna give me an apartment? This is all. Yes, they will be happy with that
and own nothing.
That's the fight.
Everybody's happy with $15 an hour in theory until everybody's actually making $15. You know what I mean? Then $15 an hour ain't shit. And people, like the wife got into it with some chick at Walmart the other day, and we were complaining about the milk prices. Shit jumped like $2, and she popped off and was like, "Man, I'll sure be glad when they raise it to $15 an hour. That way, all this stuff people can afford again." My wife was like, "Bitch, do you not know how money works? You know what I mean? If everybody's making $15 an hour, then that means that shit's going back up. Like that's not how it works. A national standard doesn't work for, like we were talking backstage. What you guys pay in your areas is completely different than how much I would need to live in my area. It makes no sense why somebody 2,000 miles away can be like, oh, these people over here, they need to make this much to survive. Like, how the fuck do you know? You know what I mean? Like, we're flyover country. You don't know shit about us. Don't tell us what we need to live. You know what I mean? It's that standard that they're setting that makes the country too small on paper, but
let's be honest, man. Let's be honest, because I'm caveman. I'm serious. I'm a fucking caveman. There's no way in the world you can sit here and tell me that there ain't enough on this planet for everybody.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. We let a few son of a bitches take hold of everything, and they shell it out to who they want to. Plain and simple, that's how it is. And they come up with these systems and these things that look so smart, and they are smart because we get so caught up in it because we can't even figure out some of the systems. There's a lot of people out here don't even know how to buy a house or buy a car or even go and rent a fucking house.
Land.
Shit. They don't know nothing about that. They just know about going to the welfare and the welfare helping them. They take a voucher, go get a fucking house. Okay, boom, I got a house. They don't know nothing about the money and nothing. But there's enough that Look at what they did. They passed $3.3 trillion, $3.2 trillion, $3.1 trillion. Anytime they want to grab a bunch of billions of dollars, they just sign a damn piece of paper and take all this money, and it's all a fugazi. It's all fake. It's all fake. That everybody can have plentiful. And we're sitting back, billions of people sitting back, letting a very few just fucking control it all. And they could still be rich. This is the thing. They could still fucking be rich. They could still have it all, and everybody else could have some too, and everybody would be doing their thing. Dreams come true every fucking where. The planet could be different. But no, we have evil involved. Evil.
See, that's the problem, is you let some people get a little bit of authority. And especially if you've been doing it for 50 or 60 fucking years, you're the one who makes the loopholes, you know, in the world. They're pushing their idea of what your American dream should be onto you. And that's the problem, is we've all sat back for so long, like, yeah, that does make sense. Let me get the 2.3 kids, white picket fence and all that shit. Yeah, that's the American dream. To them, that's what it is. And we've been convinced that that's what our dream should be too. And it's not. You know what I mean? Living in towns, living in cities, all these fucking condos and apartments and skyscrapers. That's not your dream. That's somebody else's dream. You've just been told. In some cases, a lot of y'all been forced to go to college by your parents. You know, oh, you're going to college, blah, for what? That's your dream. You know what I mean? And then pretty soon you got generational wealth of other people's dreams. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's all it is. You're forcing your dream on the generations after you, because you either got a power trip, you think you're helping, or you think people are just too fucking stupid to figure out exactly what they want for themselves in life. So it's your job to step in and be like, no, look, this will make you happy. Go do this. Go buy this $70,000 electric car that you can't plug in because there's brownouts everywhere. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You mean it's not an electric car, it's a coal powered car. Because electricity comes from coal plants.
Right.
I think it's a lot more simpler in some ways too, man, because if you really look at it, you can go back in history. I think one of the biggest thing is it's fear. And why I say this is because this man's fearful. If he don't have more than them 10 other men, his woman's going to want to fuck one of them. This man's got more than he's got. Oh, my girl ain't going to want to stick with me. I got to have more than them motherfuckers because she'll stick with me. I'm white. So I can't let black people get any kind of power here, because what are they going to do to me? So we got to keep the black man down. And I'm just using that as an example. It could be Asian, it could be white, it could be black folks on white folks or anything, but it's a fear thing. I think when it comes down to it, it's the simplest things. We're just animals, and we're not that fucking smart. You know, when it comes down to it, we act off emotion and raw soul shit in us. And that's why I think we fuck shit up a lot. It's because of fear. Instead of just saying, fuck it, man. Why can't we just give it a shot, man? Why can't we just give it a shot, give everybody a fair play, and let's run with it? See what happens.
Exactly.
It can't get no worse.
It's the same way, too, like when you have kids, too, like you said, with the fear. Because your kids are going to school, and they're seeing how other families live and stuff, and they come home and say, well, so-and-so's got this. And you want them to think that they're okay, that they're not living poor like you grew up. And it's like you said, that you get stuck in that model of what society says we're all supposed to be happy with. And when you get those things, you realize this isn't making me happy. So you're like, well, maybe I need more. I need the next big TV, the next big phone, the next big car, and eventually, like I said, you have to wake up, and it goes back to what we've said before, man. You got to go after the culture. You got to change what it in your own little family culture, what's going to make you happy, what's really going to make your family happy. Because these gadgets, these different status things, they don't make my kids happy. They don't make my wife happy, and what Tribe says is true. There's enough money out there for everybody to be wealthy and well off and have happiness. I think the problem is there's a hoarding of opportunity. The people at the highest levels have all the opportunity to do whatever they want, to make how much money they want. And they can share it with a few people if they want to. It's like, okay, well, here's your opportunity. You go make money now. Yeah, but they don't want to give the opportunity for all of us to do. Imagine all of us, man, all of us on this panel, folks in this chat, how talented all you folks are, man. If you had the opportunity, you could be millionaires and billionaires. It's hard to find that opportunity because we have to go to 9-to-5 jobs just to pay the freaking bills.
Yep.
Right.
And we incur massive amounts of fucking debt, and then they don't pay it off. And then you get another card to transfer debt to that card, and then you add more debt, and now you're just drowning in like freaking thousands of dollars a month in credit card debt, and half that stuff on a brand new TV or a brand new couch or a brand new fucking car.
And guess what, Pop B? Guess what, Pop B? You got, let's just say you got 50,000 in debt, right? But look at that government. They're like what, $40 trillion in debt now? But they're not held accountable. They don't have to worry about losing their life or having to give away their fucking house or damn it, I gotta hide this and put it in this person's name because I owe the fucking government 10 grand.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was about to say. Go ahead, Hush. You got it this time. Go.
No, I wouldn't say nothing. I'm just shaking my head.
All right. That's the debt isn't even real. That's the bullshit. It's not even real. It's something that somebody put up to allow you to purchase something. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's like investing and hurting for that debt. The debt is it's the stress. It's the stress that you got to pay that shit back. You got so much time. You got to work more. That's what that debt is. It's not even real. It's fugazi.
Exactly. And I'm gonna bring up something here that's controversial, and I'm not against the mission of this group. I used to support them greatly. It's just the grassroots people who raised $90 million on the death of black folks, and now they're under scrutiny because people want to know what they did with that money. I'm talking about the BLM people. A lot of the BLM chapters are doing great things in their communities. You guys should really look into it. BLM is a legit organization, okay? But the top, like Patrice Colors, they raised $90 million, and everyone's like, "What'd you do with the money?"
Yeah.
And it's not racism; it's a legitimate question. Do you know what you could do with $90 million if your mission is to help black folks? The infrastructure you could build, where in black communities you could buy businesses. And you could go into these communities and hire black folks and help them, get out of poverty. You could renovate places. You could start your own business at $90 million. You could, and how many people would invest in a BLM business? Like you could just create revenue if that was your real mission.
But
that's the thing.
Like you said, Native. But like you said, I just give them the opportunity. $90 million would give opportunity like a mother.
Yes. Right here on YouTube, man, there are so many talented black folks on YouTube, artists, musicians, actors. I mean, people, creators, inventors all over YouTube. They could scour YouTube for these people, invest in them, and give them the opportunity to do something, man. But it's like that all the way up the chain. All these millionaires and billionaires, Elon Musk building a whole space program. Dude, what outreach are you doing to help people who are poor and don't have the opportunities that you do?
Right. See, Kansas City's got a big thing where they're always complaining about the food deserts and shit. Like, I got to get on a bus and go, 20 blocks before I can even come close to any kind of thing that sells food. It's one of those situations like all these councilmen and everything in these neighborhoods. It's like it's not just black neighborhoods, it's just the inner city, plain and simple. You know what I mean? There's trailer parks and all that other shit. And it's like, how hard is it to dedicate a little bit of time and energy to a community garden, to a park where the kids can go play while the old heads are over here playing in the dirt, pulling weeds, raising stuff. You know what I mean? That way they have at least something, just that start.
But if you do that and you start giving people hope, and I'm not saying, I'm playing devil's advocate here, you start doing things like that, then you have people that don't go to jail, you have people that don't commit crimes, that don't have fines, that don't have, you have someone that's thirsting for their next paycheck so they can feed themselves. So you have people that are going to do whatever you tell them to do, like you say, Tribe. You start getting out of the system, and you're going to do what you got to do to feed. So if you start giving this opportunity to people, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm saying you start giving opportunity to that they're playing you. They're playing everybody.
Yep.
Just at
Yeah.
least give people the chance to see what they would do. Because I mean,
Well,
like in my situation, if I would have had all these chances back in the day, I would have fucked a lot of them up, just because I was that little asshole. You know what I mean? I was just
They
one of
dangle a
those,
carrot every election, man.
right? But see, at a certain point, you've got to have just the opportunity for a person to change. Don't force a person to change. Just let them know that that opportunity is there. But like, hey, even though you're fucking up and we don't want you here now because you're stupid, get your shit right and you come back and we'll show you what we got going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not a hard concept. That's so many people just on top of each other all the time that you just generalize everybody and you're like, man, fuck all humans. You know what I mean? And you give up on everybody. And that's the problem. You got to weed through the fucking retards to get to the ones who are actually willing to learn something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For real.
When I think about America, man, a lot of times when I'm thinking by myself, you know, I do my thing and I think, and I've thought to myself, man, you know who's going to save America? It's going to be Black America, because they've been through so much and fought through so fucking much, and they're tough as nails. And then I thought to myself, you know who else is? It's going to be the Native Americans. They're going to be a part of it too, man. They're going to be a huge part of the resistance, because they deserve so much more than what happened. And then, you know, you think about it more, there's going to be women. They're going to want, they don't want to give up these freedoms they fought to get through the years in America. You know, women have a lot of freedoms in America that they won't have in other places. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I start thinking about these things, man. And I'm like, it's got to activate. It's just got to activate. People just got to wake the hell up and say, no, man, no. I'm not playing this Democratic Republican shit no more. You're not going to turn me against that dude. That fuck you. I'm against you. You're the one doing this to us. It's not him. He asking me for half my sandwich. Why I'm gonna be mad at him?
Right.
You got 3 subs, motherfucker. I want your shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Real.
That's misguided anger, man. They're
I
aiming them
felt
at the wrong fucking target. That's all it is. They're just aiming them at the wrong fucking targets. I'm glad people are waking up, you know, but it's one of those things where, like, if you've already been awake for 3 hours and somebody wakes up, you know, late, you're like, God damn, you just now waking up, you kind of blow them off. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them type of situations. But
Yeah.
If they can keep us all divided and fighting each other, it takes our eye off of what they're doing. And that's what they want. That's, you know, they want us fighting each other. That was the purpose of Biden's speech and the purpose of Trump's speech the next day in answer to Biden. Trump's playing his part to divide us. I know a lot of y'all love Trump, and that's okay.
Oh, yeah,
but I
he
want you to
is.
hear this. He's not your savior. He's really not. Okay. I'll vote for him if he runs, but he's not your savior. Stop looking for politicians to save you. Save yourself. And let Jesus save you.
Amen. Hey, look, hey guys, bam, y'all in the chat. So this is what I've been on. Seriously, like this is my thing now. And Hutch, bro, you were 1000% correct. Things will not change until people feel the hurt. Seriously, that is solidified within my mind. Things will not change until people feel the hurt. But right now, as far as like being prepared and preparedness and my mindset, what I'm really trying to preach to people now is to find your foundations, find your morals. Native, you said it earlier, within your home, within your family, solidify the things that you will and you will not do moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't promise you that there's going to be a rebellion. You know, a couple million people, couple 100,000 people. I can't promise you that because people got to pay bills, families got to eat. We allowed 87,000 IRS armed agents to you know what I'm saying? They're playing with the water, and we're allowing a lot of these things to happen. So my last like ditch effort is, fam, y'all in the chat, Deanne, y'all, just solidify what you will and you will not do. There will come a point in time as to where you will be pushed. You will be pushed, and you're gonna have to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't go any further. This is where my line in the sand is. And I think it's going to come at different points for different people. I don't seriously. There may be a pushback. There may be a rebellion.
I mean, that's why we're in the position we're at right now, though, because everyone's
listening.
waiting.
What's that?
I said that's why we're in the position we're at right now, though, because we're all waiting for that line in the sand for us individually. When your neighbors are having shit. I'll say this. Jackson, Mississippi's water is fucked, right? It did, and I'm not calling anybody out. They do shit.
Hell yeah.
Did anybody do anything except for get mad about it? Is Flint water even good? You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
And how many years has that been? And we're all just like, oh fuck it, it don't bother me. I don't live there. You know what I mean? We had all this shit going on the whole time. I mean,
we're all the frogs in the pot boiling slowly, aren't we?
Say what?
I said we're all the frogs in the pot boiling slowly, aren't we?
Yeah, we're pissed.
Yeah.
Like this is
see, if you look at it,
like we're
boiling
us slowly. I'm pissed. I'm gonna sit here and be mad.
I'm not talking shit, Josh. I'm just saying, like, every time.
No, I'm with you. You're good.
We kind of
we get our news on a national basis and shit.
Yeah.
So like down in Missouri, we hear something about Flint, Michigan, or what's happening in Alabama and all this other shit, whatever the fuck, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And we sit here and we're like, man, that's fucking bullshit. But then we move on, like we get accustomed to it.
Yeah.
So it's like we're mad about something that's happening so far away that doesn't physically affect us, that by the time something like that does get to you, you've already used up all your anger on somebody else's fucking issue.
You know how hard it is to stand up for somebody that's all tribal as shit? The entire nation's tribalistic. So you sit there and you go to freaking New York to help them out, and they're going to be like, who the fuck? No, everyone in this world is tribe. No, what I'm saying, like, you go over there, and they're going to be like, you're not from fucking here. What the fuck are you going to do, Yeah. You never lived around our life. Now you want to help us. And it's just patronizing each other. So we can't get along anyways to even back each other. So our line of saying is fucked, in my mind.
It shows how perfect their plan is.
Remember when all those people went to Baltimore and they swept the streets and all that shit, and everybody was mad as fuck. Like, why are you bringing your overprivileged ass down here to clean our streets? Like, we need you. Like, bitch, I'm helping you. You know what I mean? And that's the problem.
He was one of them.
That's what I'm saying, Dino. That's what I'm talking about. So frogs in the pot. No, was it the Arab Spring? That was it. One kid who had enough and lit himself up on fire, and it started everything. That's the foundations that I'm talking about. It's going to be that one person, hopefully that one person who says, this is it for me. They're not going to push me anymore. And maybe it'll tell the other frogs in the pot, hey, this is hot. Maybe we need to come up with a plan to hop out of this bitch instead of just sit here.
Right.
But see, like,
that's
if you look at January 6th, they had the opportunity to do that. Like, that was the perfect moment to gather all the people together. But they squandered it. And then they walked away from it and just gave them a chance to dig in, tighten up their security to make it that much worse for the next motherfucker that wants to stand up and actually do something. You know what I mean? Because they took it as a joke.
Yeah, that's my hope.
I don't think I just don't see all of us across our country's big. Like think about how big we're and separated we really are. It don't seem that way because we can do stuff like this. But we really are separated. I just don't see how we all come together in a way to where the federal government doesn't shut us down immediately. They're listening to us right now. So my plan is, like I said, is to make millions of us all across the country outliers, to where it doesn't matter what happens. We're so prepared. Anything could happen tomorrow, and we're all ready. We're already connected. We all already know where how to get in contact with each other without the internet. And no matter what comes our way, we have our local group, and we're prepared to fight back or survive. It's like we always say, Hutch, not an army of millions, but a million armies all over our country of just people who are fed up and just don't want to be a part of their system anymore and are making moves to get their family out of the system. So they're not beholden to it when they collapse it. It doesn't matter that the system collapsed. I wasn't a part of it anyway. I'm producing my own energy, my own fuel, my own food. There's members in our groups who are doctors, nurses, paramedics. We have medicines. We know how to make new medicines. All these different things. We know how to fabricate all these different things and make our own stuff. that's where I'm trying to get to. So when they collapse their system, it doesn't even affect me. So that when I need to go fight, I know that my family, my kids are taken care of because we have a group. That's my plan. I just don't see like any black swan event. They're waiting for it. They're waiting for us to organize and go and do something together as one unit, so they can get all of us at once. But they have to go and hunt down a million different groups. They'll fail. They can't even run a decent welfare system to help our citizens. They fail at anything they try to do. They lose money. They don't know how to manage it. It's just a bureaucracy.
Here's something for you, Native. Here's something for you. I got my mind, and I think the way that I do, which I think is a good way to think. And they might have us on a list. You got your mind. You know, Pop B's got his mind. But you know what we're doing right now that is monstrous to them is that we're raising kids, and we're teaching those kids the way of our thinking. So my one has turned into 8. How many kids you got, Native?
5.
Yeah. How many kids you got, Pop B? So just us 3, you know, we done turned 3 into what? 14, 15? And if we keep doing that, while we're doing everything else, keep doing it. Work on them young. Don't turn your kids into just a bow your head and be in school and do whatever the hell. They got to be resistant sometimes. They got to go against the grain sometimes. You got to teach them kids, man, because that we're going to be gone. Another 20, 30 years, I won't even be here anymore. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be on them. They're going to be the next freedom fighters, you know, the next ones to believe in freedom and not having tyrannical motherfuckers or dictators and shit. I mean, I'm just saying, I just want to throw that, y'all, you know, y'all make me think of things, man. And
I hear you. Like, I'd even go as far as saying, like, the whole purpose of having children is so that they end up better than you are. You know what I mean? And like, I get caught up in this every once in a while, or I used to back in the day, but y'all know I'm chill as fuck. So like, if I ever had a confrontation with the boy, you know, my son, which is very, very fucking rare, but even if he questions me, I don't get mad at him for it, because that's his job, is to question everything. Don't blatantly listen to me and just follow me because I said so. That's why. That's no fucking excuse. Question that. Challenge that authority. Why the fuck does that make it okay? You have to bow down to this just because I said so. Plain and simple. You know what I mean? Don't get mad at your kids if they question you. They need to question you. That's the whole fucking process. You know what I mean? They have to figure out who they are, not who you are.
Me and my son are beefing hard right now. Like we're at the point now. He's 21. We're at the point now. If we see each other, we probably going out in the yard and we throwing these hands. But that's part of the process. Because he's got to be the way he is, and 10 years from now, 20 years from now, or when I leave this motherfucker, he'll look back and be like, damn, he made it to where I could survive. He made it to where I could think for myself. No matter how hard it was, no matter how much I hated him for being the asshole that he was being at the time. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be all hugs and kisses, man. It's going to be rough at times. But you got to build them strong, and you got to take heartache on your shoulder as you do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Get past yourself, because it's not about you. It's about, you know, teaching the next generation.
Yeah. It's
deep,
man. It's deep. Man, I appreciate y'all fellas being here. I just want to say that. And everybody in the chat too, man. I appreciate y'all being here, man, and listening to us talk our shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the home team, bro. We're from the same hood.
No doubt.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, you know what's weird? Like in the real world, we I mean, at least from us, because I mean, I fuck with y'all, so I know y'all. But it's like we are the most different random group of motherfuckers that you could ever put together. You know what I mean?
What?
It's weird though, like because from the outside you can be like, oh, it's just a bunch of dudes up there. You know what I mean? But like we are the most different everything that you could possibly fucking imagine. But we are, you know what I mean? It's the tightest fucking group that I've ever been a part of. You know what I mean? And that's the
It's
thing.
the tightest group on YouTube by far. There's nobody else.
Oh, no
Nobody
doubt.
else.
No one's
I'm
doing this. No one.
hell no. And on top of that, I ain't gonna bullshit. And somebody might say I'm lying, but we got the tightest motherfuckers that come and hang out with us in this motherfucking chat too. And I ain't kissing ass. I'm telling the truth.
For sure.
We may not get that 1,000 people in the chat because whatever the reason, who knows? But man, the people that we do get, Lord have mercy, you ain't fucking with them. You ain't fucking
Man,
with
I go to war with all of them, man.
them. Yeah.
Man,
I'll
you
go to
drop
war
a
with about
video,
87%.
those brothers sisters are in the comments, man. Like
What's up,
dropping
87?
knowledge, too.
Oh yeah.
Like no
Tons.
doubt.
It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty and it's wild, man. It's wild to me to think, because it's been 2 years for most of us. You know what I mean? Going back and forth, and for us to just connect, and like Hut said, we are so different from everybody's from a different place, different. My state's different from Texas, big time. Missouri's different from South Carolina's, different areas, different ways we've lived, come up and everything, man. But yet we still, because we got that same thing about us, man. We want freedom. We respect others' freedoms. Nobody's better than nobody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's,
We're all outliers. We're all outliers.
It don't matter what the fuck your house looks like as long as you got a solid foundation, and that's what we are. We all got solid ass foundations, but our houses look different. That's the only difference. You know what I mean?
Salute.
Hey man, can I ask you guys a question? This is a legit prepping question. So the weather has been doing some seriously weird things. I did a short on it, and a little video. It's crazy, but what do we do if, like, okay, so obviously there's like cloud seeding, and there's some type of manipulation, something going on with the weather. It has to be. But what happens if they put something in it, and they've already said, like, what is it, forever, whatever it is that could be in the rainwater. What happens if they do something similar to like the thing, but with the rainwater?
I have no idea.
Oh my god, that was perfect. That was perfect. What do we do if
Nobody cares?
All right, I'm done.
I'm just kidding. I want to tap in on this.
Y'all see this?
I'm sorry, man. It just
No, you good. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
But no, I think that's what they're going. When I seen Survival Living's video about them going after people's private land with water, and then you think about how they put out that the rain is poisonous now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wasn't that put out there? Wasn't that a serious thing where they said all rain is messed up now?
Yeah.
They're coming hard, man. They're coming hard. They're already attacking our food. Now they're going. That's the really, besides air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What if they do a real fear campaign, like what we just experienced, like the real deal, like, please, and then we actually see, like, the same show that we saw with that thing, because people are drinking rainwater, and rainwater it's now in the lakes, and it's like, what do you do about that, man?
See, honestly, I think the only reason we're so safe as we are, not the gun thing, but just the fact that we are so big of a country and we are so spread out, that it would be damn near impossible to affect the entire country at one time. Like, if you look at like England or some shit like that, they're tiny fucking countries. Like America's fucking huge. You know what I mean? And it'd be hard to control that.
That would be ridiculous. Yeah, no, I got you, Hutch. Thank God for the size, of our country.
I heard some stuff either today or yesterday, man, where a person was talking about how big countries really are, and how, and I don't know how true it is or what, because I haven't done the research on it. I just seen a video, and somebody was bringing up maps, and they were showing how you could fit, if you turned Russia a certain way, you could fit 2 of them into Africa, and like Brazil is damn near the same size as the United States. Right. And how there might be some manipulation and maps and shit because they put it on a piece of paper and they want it easy to read and shit. But at the same time, they know that they manipulate everything they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't they manipulate maps and make us think, oh, this is bigger than that, or this is stronger than this? You know what I mean? So it just made me think like, whoa, I really wonder, how big is the United States compared to, say, Russia? You know what I'm saying?
They had to stretch it to make the globe.
Yeah. There ain't no globe. The world is flat. The earth is flat, and I will fight you if you say different.
It's a cylinder. It's a cylinder.
Oh man, y'all are making Big Chap like horny talking about flat Earth.
Right.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's why, like,
Oh,
you figure,
BC.
like, most of the population is in the urban areas, the cities and shit. You know, you got Chicago, LA, New York, all this. That is the bulk of the country is in one fucking spot, pretty much. So it's the entire government system is set up based on pleasing those people and ignoring everything in flyover country. Because what's the point of worrying about 2 million people when you've got control of 75 million people? You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things.
Yeah.
We've made it so easy for them. We've made it so easy for them. I'm gonna say this, and there's gonna be a lot of people that get pissed off of this. Anytime you can have the people fighting your battles for you, when you got a ton of channels that are hardcore Democrat and hardcore Republican, they don't even need to fight it anymore. They barely have to do anything. They just got to come out and put a dumbass speech out there, and then 10 million Americans will go run and do the bidding for them for the Democrats or the Republicans. That's what we need to break. I'm sorry to say, but it's the truth, man. You got to get away from this Democrat Republican thinking. That is one of the biggest things weighing us down as a nation, man. It's so horrible. It should not be there. There should not be 50-50 split divide like that. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And the thoughts between the two are really not all that different. They just they pump shit up about certain shit to make it seem like it's so far apart. But I guarantee you, them motherfuckers sitting up in there doing their thing, man, they're eating together, hanging out together. Man, they love each other. When it comes down to something happens at that motherfucker, you'll hear the biggest Republican dude stand right next to the biggest. I've been friends with her for 30 years. Yeah, we argue up in here, but we are friends, and I care about her and her family. It's like, yeah, you sure do. But then you want to get up on TV and say you don't care about any of the Republicans out here on the streets and shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're all the terrorists and enemies of the whole damn nation. Like, it's such bullshit, man. It's such bullshit.
Hey man, we
Stop
have
picking a side. Stop picking a side, please.
Yeah, we have a change of the guard. Supposedly every so many years, but government never decreases its ability. It never decreases its ability. So those 87,000, they're still gonna be there when potatoes not in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like gas prices. They jack them up high, and they might bring them back down, but they'll never be as low as what they were before.
Have you ever actually sat back and thought, like, hey, it's crazy that T-Man bust out with, I'm going to fire 50,000 government employees 2 weeks later. Hey, we're hiring 87,000 new IRS.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. There's a way to fight it, man. There's a way to fight it. It's just people got to have the balls to do it. That's another thing. Where's America's balls, man? And ladies, where the tough tits? Let's call it tough tits. Men have the balls, women have the tough tits. Where are they at? We need them. We need them right now. Time's up. Time's up.
Hutch knows.
Speak out. At least speak out. At least talk to people. At least stand up for yourself. Go. Be uncomfortable, like Hutch says, man. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable. I mean, if you spend a lot of time on YouTube, that's where your fight's going to be. Go up in some of these damn chats when people are talking stupid and say, hey, look, you stop all that nonsense. Come on now. And you might have 100 people, but there might be 3 people in there that listen to you. and then they end up spreading the word. It's got to start somewhere. We got to do something at any time we can, because they're constantly working. What did Bob Marley say? I can't take a day off because they never do. They are constantly working on us. We got to fucking stand up. We got in one way or another.
We're so comfortable. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
I don't think physically we're comfortable, but mentally we're not comfortable.
We're stressed.
There's no way that these people around the world are comfortable right now. Look at all the shit that's going on. I'm not comfortable in my mind. I'm not happy.
Yeah, but we're trying to hold on to what we have. Like, seriously.
But there's people out here that live in a hut shitting in a bucket, and they're trying to hold on to what they have.
I ain't trying to do all that.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
I ain't trying to do all that. You know what I'm saying?
Like, we got to stop thinking about, oh, let's hang on to what we have. We're losing what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's much big. We're only here for a minute. We're only here for a minute. We don't live forever. We're going to be gone soon. A lot of us, 50 years from now, probably none of us will be alive. None of us. And what are you going to say on your deathbed when you're looking back and your grandkids are walking in and they're saying, well, I got to go because the hospital's only allowing me 2 minutes and I got to go back to work. I've already put 16 hours in. If I don't, they'll lock me up. What laying in that bed, what are you going to, I mean, seriously, man, I feel like Braveheart. I feel like putting out a speech like Braveheart. Like, what are you, we're only here for a minute, man. We got to do something, man. We got to fight this shit somehow, some way, think of different alternative ways. And we got to keep the conversation going. We got to keep on going at it, man.
Hey, I was driving today, right? I was driving and I'm a little bit stressed, financial stuff, typical stuff, bills, that type of thing, car payments, cell phones, the normal stuff, right? And we talk about this stuff, so I can kind of feel the walls kind of like, slowly coming in. I know where things are going. I know inflation. But bro, I'm driving down the street and everybody seems to be doing awesome. All the cars around me are shiny. They're all washed. Everybody's like going to and fro. All the restaurants, the parking lots are packed. Chick-fil-A's packed. Like, it just looks like I'm the only person who realizes that we're headed for some problems and everybody else is just doing wonderful out here. Aside from the guy at the corner with the sign asking for change.
He's probably doing better than all of y'all. That motherfucker makes $30 an hour.
Yeah, man.
But who walks around crying, man? Who walks around crying? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of people you walk by and they got to take a massive shit too, but they're not letting anybody know. That's the thing, man. You can't just walk outside and go to a store and look at people because people put on a facade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like when they get up on this computer, man, you look at all these channels. There's people so depressed they end up killing the beautiful people, rich people. So you can't.
Bad Bath and Beyond. Yeah. The CFO jumped out of the window in New York City.
Oh, did he? Did he? But did he?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Right.
I got you.
A lot of Epstein didn't kill himself.
I didn't say it. Hutch did. But it all goes back to what Hutch is saying, man. The game is so dirty that everybody is playing like everything is okay. Everything is all right. You could be driving a Land Rover and be one of the brokest mother on the planet living off credit cards. But everything's all right. Look.
See, that's what it comes down to is people they're not putting the value on things for what their life should be. You know what I mean? Like you can be homeless. Are you smiling 16 hours a day? Are you happy as fuck? Because that means a lot more than a brand new 100-inch TV. I'll tell you that right now. You know what I mean? Like, can you hang out with the fellas? Can you giggle? Can you laugh? You know what I mean? And actually have that those good times just in the simple shit like this conversation right here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Fucking awesome. Greatest shit hanging out with you boys. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. Like I wouldn't trade this for, oh look, I gotta jump off this live because they said if I get off here, I can go get a new Xbox or something. You know what I mean? Like it's not a trade-off. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. You've got to find happiness in the small shit because that's what all life is. Small shit. The big shit's irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to make me you want to feel better, Josh?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I would put money that our generation or the next generation changes everything. And the way I say that is because look how old America is. Every big thing that's happened in America was fixed with a generation. Just one.
Okay.
Every time something terrible happened, a generation changed it. And we got what, 4 generations worth of America? You know what I mean? Another generation or ours, and I bet you it changes.
Good or better?
Depends on how we react, I guess.
Gotcha. All right. I'm with you.
You don't think that we're heading in a place where there won't be no turning back with the way things going?
It'll be different.
Yeah.
Well, what I mean, like, is it might not be America anymore. It might not be that, but the ideology will be there. You still keep that free, being free aspect to it, and you recreate. Because America, the ideology won't die. The country's going to probably not make it. But that's just because, they fucking up everything. So it's not,
yeah. I think the only thing that can save it at this point, if it's going to be saved, elections aren't going to do it for all the reasons we just mapped out. I think a convention of states might do it. That's the only shot they got at preserving this. But I don't. Even if they could get it together, I still think it would be fake, and the wrong people would be in charge of it. And then,
so what if that happens? What if that happens to America? Kind of like the Soviet Union. Yeah. What if we break apart, and then all of a sudden, 2 generations from now, we've got like the biggest portion of America trying to take back its little pieces. You know what I mean? Like, what if we're all just repeating everything around the globe?
Divorce and balkanization would be a good thing, but I think you're right. Too many foreign people would get involved and try to put their influence. What is it? 350,000 acres the Chinese government owns in America. Wow. Would they become one of their own little state?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, man, who knows what's going to happen, man?
Man, I just want to say something real quick, man. I'm not trying to be controversial or nothing, but it just blows my mind. Look, 150 years ago, we had one of the biggest battles in government, whether man was going to take away slavery of another man. 150 years ago. I think it was somewhere around 150 years. That very short time ago. I mean, that wasn't
very long ago.
No, not at all. and the whole country was in an uproar. Whether they, not we, but they, the power or whatever the hell, I don't even know. But doesn't that blow your mind? That's where we were 150 years ago. Like, I can't imagine the shit that we're going to go through, man. Human beings are fucked up. They're fucked up.
Yeah.
But see, that was the time too when everybody and their mama was living. You know what I mean? If you wanted to live, you raised it, you took care of it, you built it. You know what I mean? If you wanted a house, you get out there and you build it. You know what I mean? There was none of that cookie cutter shit. You know what I mean?
There was some elites. There was some elites though. There was still them kings and them rulers that had people doing everything for them, and the slave owners. They had workers and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean. So at the same time, you still had that bullshit. You know what I mean? I don't.
You weren't connected to the whole country back then like you were now.
Nah,
right?
I mean,
yeah. Okay.
You had that separation. You know what I mean? Because it was one of those things like we see Biden every motherfucking day, no matter what we turn on, the phone, the TV, no matter what, we're going to see a politician from 2,000 miles away today.
Yeah.
Back then it was if you live 50 miles away. It was still like, oh, they're all the fucking way over there. We ain't worried about them. You know what I mean? They made the world smaller and they made it softer. That way they wouldn't have to worry about any kind of uprisings like that ever again. You know what I mean? I blame the baby boomers. If you're over 50, fuck you. You did this shit, dark.
They did.
I just look at us like what kind of nation has to have in their constitution. I just don't even think it should be there. Like, we shouldn't have to have written up in the Constitution there shouldn't be slavery. There just shouldn't be slavery. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable to me that people could be such pieces of shit.
There's countries
and you can't. And I'm sorry, but I've always thought, man, you if you come into something doing some things that's so fucking bad, man, this country did some ruthless shit to become what it has. some really ruthless shit, and it's thrown under the rug, and people don't talk about it. People don't bring up the genocide of the Native Americans. Complete fucking genocide, man. I don't care what nobody says. I look at it for what it is. How can you come to a land and strip it from a people, slaughter them, and then tell them they got to be in this little spot right here? No, that shit's not going to work, man. That shit's not going to work. Sooner or later, you're going to pay for the bullshit you've done, man. Karma's going to get you.
See, I think the opposite. I think the only thing we talk about in this country is all the genocide and everything we've done bad. And we demonize ourselves like crazy because the entire world was built on the same concepts. Everything was taken over, conquered. People were fucking massacred all over this world. But we still demonize ourselves right now. If we've got past it, know it, don't forget it. You know, shit happened. You can't actually sweep it under the rug. I agree, but I don't think we sweep it. I think that's all we focus on in this country.
Really?
Yes.
It's a way to make yourself
I
don't ever see it. I don't ever see it. I don't ever see anybody talking about what happened to the Native Americans in this country. I don't see. I see like certain things about slavery that said, you know, you might have a movie come out or something like that, or you might have, but you don't have people talking about it. Just regular people trying to work things out. You don't have blacks and whites coming together and really saying, man, you know, let's get some understanding here. Let's work these things out. You know what I'm saying?
No, I didn't say
all the shit that we hear is the divisional shit, the shit that's pushed on us to make us hate each other and shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. All we hear is all of the crappy shit that's done. All we hear is what has happened. There's no coming together. But we act like we're the only country that is just terrible fucking human beings.
Gotcha. Hey, I'm gonna say that this is what makes America for me. This is everybody has probably a different image of what America is. The white picket fence, the house, but exactly what we're talking about. This is what America is. So to me, America is like a bunch of nuts, a bunch of wild men who broke apart from England. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody had guns and it was profit. It was a hustle and bustle. That's what America is for me. And America includes slavery. It includes racism. It includes all these things that we're talking about right now. So while we're sitting here talking about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my experience of America. You know what I'm saying? It's never been like absolutely 1000% straight up. You know what I'm saying? For me, at least. I'm not saying I'm not proud of it or anything like that, but this is my America and I love it. I can't have it any other way. And I understand that, you know, the things that took place with the Native Americans and the blacks and, you know, all and everybody else, the Irish and the immigrants that came, you know, all that stuff. So this is America for me, man. I don't want to be anywhere else. There's no other country that I would want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? And Hutch, like you said, this shit won't happen anywhere else, bro. This conversation with all of us, this is what makes America great for me. So, you know.
See, we got beat down with that fucking victim mentality to where everybody's in this. Oh, I had such a hard life. My ancestors had such a hard life. I went through this. You don't know. You know what I mean? And it's always me. I went through this, but I don't know what the fuck you went through. But I'm just going to assume that my life was so much worse than yours because that's what people are telling me, that, you know, I had it bad over here. You know what I mean? Just in general, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to the point to where you're like, oh damn, I did something wrong, or I've had so many bad things happen to me that I have an excuse built in to where I can just do irrelevant, stupid shit and get away with it because I've got that excuse. And I can't really question it because, like, oh, I'm bad. So, you know what I mean? I can only top out so far because I'm so bad, or I've been held down, or, you know, I've had such a rough life. So I can't do this or this. You know what I mean? It's that boogeyman fucking factor.
Right.
Where it's like,
but we got to go at it. We got to go at it, brother, because if we don't go at it, look, I'll say it like this. And I know people are going to disagree with me. That's why we do these things, man. We have different points and different, but right now you have Indians living on what's it called?
Reservations?
Reservations, you know, and that's where they stay. That, you know, why Why they got to stay right there? You know, why Chicago had 55 motherfuckers shot this past weekend? You know what I'm saying? Why in Philadelphia was there 31 people shot this weekend? But then when we bring up the shit that has happened and the shit that's going on and the healing that needs to happen in this country, we bring it up and quit whining, man. Yeah, we all had it hard, man. It is what it. Okay, that's true, but still, we need to work through some things to fix this shit. Because if we don't fix this shit, it's gonna keep going. It's gonna be 100 motherfuckers shot in Chicago in a year. It's gonna be 3,000 motherfuckers shot. It's gonna crumble. We're gonna crumble if we don't do something about it. If we don't get this shit going somehow, some way.
It all comes back to the people that are running us.
Yes.
It all comes back to look at Hawaii right now. There's eminent domain there. There's a lot of fucking people in Hawaii that hate America. Maybe because we drugged their queen and took over the land. I don't know. But
Really?
We did.
Really?
We didn't, but some American, they assassinated the queen and made them become a state. It's because Spain was already in negotiations with them. Yes.
It could have gone that way.
But here's the thing now that they've been a part of the United States for over 50 years and they're all the benefits of being a part of the United States of America, and people say, oh, well, we want to be independent. I said, do you? A tiny little island nation way off in the Pacific by yourself without the protections of the United States of America? Does everyone in Hawaii want that? See, that's the problem. The evil was done and the people who did it are dead.
Yeah.
And now we have to deal with their mess. And the people of Hawaii are in a situation where it's more beneficial for them to stay a part of the Union. But at the same time, it's like Tribe said, there needs to be healing. And I'm going to say some stuff that's going to piss people off on both sides of the argument. For one thing, slavery existed in America long before any white man ever put a toe here. Almost all of native tribes enslaved each other. They warred against each other. They massacred each other. They would enslave each other. One of my favorite people to read about is Quanah Parker. He was one of the most brutal, deadliest Comanche warband leaders in history. He led a brutal campaign against the United States of America in the Army. I mean, I think he was a patriot, but at the same time, he would enslave other tribes, the Kiowa, the Apache, and torture them, rape their women. They would enslave white people, black people, whoever they came across. Slavery was here for a long time. And
oh shit! Why they always do this to native, man?
Right. Okay, well, here's a random ass question then. Because obviously, like I've been to Mexico and that's about it. I'm America all the way. So you look at some of these ancient countries. You got Middle East, Russia, things like this. You know what I mean? Their entire history is checkered with invasion. Different leaders, rulers, different people. Land split up, land brought back. Like, is it the comfort that makes us want to dwell on these things and try to find closure with shit? Like, do the people who actually still live that ancient kind of lifestyle, like, do they worry about things like that, or do they just let's just keep it moving? You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
I think they're still beefing, man. You look at, they're still beefing. You look at Muslims and Christians and Israeli and Palestinians, and you look at. Everybody's beefing everywhere, man. There's battles still from 2,000 years ago. People are still at it, still with the same mentality, still. You know what I'm saying?
It's human nature, man.
Well, the center of all these conflicts are leaders. The center of all them, because you can go to Iraq right now, and I got a lot of friends that were Muslim. I got a lot of friends. They don't give a shit about what I have or what I do, what I believe, and I didn't give really a shit about what they believe at the time. You know what I mean? Like, there's a respect. There's all that other. You can go into this for like another hour about it, but I'm just saying, like, leaders. You get one person that says, "Well, this dude, he just grabbed your wife," and this motherfucker, and all of a sudden he just like starts rallying people his way.
Yeah, they all do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they all act.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, man. And that's what we're up against in this country, man. It's the leaders.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what we're up against.
it's profit, man. It's gain. It's human nature. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It comes out in an ugly form, like slavery and all that
Oh.
other stuff. But it's profit. It's what we're doing today. It's what everybody's doing, trying to acquire as much as they can.
But ain't love human nature too? Ain't friendship human nature too? Look at us, Just Josh. Look at me and you.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big bro hugs. You know what I'm saying? But seriously, think about that though. As much as we war with each other,
Yeah,
there's that thing about us that wants to be friends, that wants to be connected, that wants to roll together. You know what I'm saying? So it's human nature on the other side of things too.
love is not going to pay the mortgage or the car payment or the cell phone or the internet or any of that stuff, bro.
That's
I'm
true.
just saying.
If you got an OnlyFans page, it will.
Yeah, depending on what kind of loving you talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Pop B will tell you there's some good paying loving going on. He's had OnlyFans for 2 years now.
What? Is that how he's got all that stuff in the background?
I'm my only fan.
You should see what you should see what he could do with a suppressor box, man.
Wow.
His OnlyFans is FOTB.
Right.
Looking out the- What were you saying, Native Man? You got cut off because
I angered the internet gods. I
internet
forgot what I was saying. The whole thing about the recent outrage, I would say over the past few years, slavery has been brought back to the forefront. But the thing is, people do make a good point about it. You know, when it comes as far as the people who are descended from those who were enslaved, we were talking about opportunity. They started from a place that a lot of the other people didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their ancestors didn't have opportunity to build wealth and then pass on to them like others did. And that's a fair point. You know, and Tribe was talking about the Native Americans and the entire reservation system. And I think there's like 500 some federally recognized reservations in the United States of America, unless I'm wrong. But I've only been to a handful of them and witnessed what it's like on those reservations for those who choose to. You know, they don't have to live on those reservations anymore. Back in the day, they had to. It was illegal for them to leave those spots. And the government, if they found gold or a resource on their reservation that the government wanted to take for themselves, they would pass a law and cut it in half, or they would go to war and massacre them. I mean, that did happen, you know. And
not that long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago at all. And so that's why there's a lot of outrage that comes, especially from people who kind of remember it still. The problem is in the reservation system is since it's legal to have, you know, casinos and stuff like that, the reservation has the opportunity to make billions of dollars of revenue for themselves as long as they give the government their part. And then each member of the tribe might get, you know, $2,000 a month, a stipend, and that's their payment. It's a welfare system, and it sets them up. It keeps them just above, you know, subsistence. And so there's no incentive for them to go out and make their own way and be even more successful. They lack the opportunity. So while there could be members on the tribal council who are living, you know, high on the hog, some of them are millionaires. The bulk members of the tribe can just be living in poverty, and it's trailer parks, and they don't have electricity and all these different things, you know, but it's not like that on all reservations. At Fort Apache, the White Mountain Apache Reservation is a fucking paradise. And the only reason it is, this is an interesting story, is when the government was rounding up all the different Apache bands, you know, Geronimo and Cochise and the Chiricahua, the White Mountain Apache lived on a mountain in the middle of the desert. It was just surrounded by just 100 miles of desert in any direction. But when you got up on the mountain, it's like 8,500 feet elevation. That's over a mile high. It was always like 80, 85 degrees up there, even when it was 120 degrees at the desert. And so the government just didn't know they were there. They were able to live out on their mountain. They had everything they needed. They had mountain spring, like huge lakes that are on top of the mountain full of trout and all kinds of things. Wild horses that live. They still, to this day, there's a herd of wild horses that live on that mountain, man. They're called the gray herd. They're beautiful. Elk, deer, you name it. It was on that mountain. So they were able to live out their lives as outliers because the government didn't know they existed. Then once they found them, they was like, oh, well, that's your reservation. There's no gold in your mountain. You're good. So to this day, if you go there, I mean, they're Apache, man. They don't care. They have a very Wild West attitude on Fort Apache. But they don't live like I've seen in other reservations here on the East Coast and other places I've been, like the Cherokee Reservation here in North Carolina in the mountains, man. You can drive by and you see all the tourism and stuff. But if you actually go to where the Cherokee people live, man, a lot of them live in squalor. Not all of them. I'm not trying not to generalize with that. But it all goes back to what Tribe said, because that's what they was forced into.
Right.
But, said all that to say, here we are now. None of us did that. None of my ancestors did, unless you can prove it. Even the white people that owned slaves in our country, it was a very minuscule part of the population that were actually wealthy enough to own the slaves. Most white people were poor because they couldn't get a job, because where they lived, all the rich people had slavery. They didn't need your labor. And so you were stuck trying to figure out, it's a convoluted, it's not black and white. That's my point. There's not just one right or wrong thing. It's very dense, and it takes a lot of discussion, and everyone has to be honest on both sides about, that's what I hate about, and I think that's what Pop B was getting out at earlier when he was saying all the time, all you hear is, oh, you're white, you own slaves, your ancestors own slaves, you oppressed my people. Well, how do you know that? How do you know my ancestors just came here? I'm first generation American from Europe or something. How do you know who my ancestors were just by looking at the color of my skin? That's racist. That is the very definition of racism. And so it's I don't want our country to go into a place to where we're so sensitive about making sure we do the right thing and not being racist that we go full bore in the opposite direction. And now we're, I don't know. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah.
Rambling.
Man, hell yeah.
Rambling.
Can't be racist if you're equal with everybody else around you. One of
Right.
those whole. It doesn't matter what color the spokes are in the wheel. Just be a fucking spoke in the wheel is what it comes down to.
And you got to be able to have the conversation without shooting each other in the face.
Yeah.
That's when it comes down to me. It's like it's almost impossible. I mean, even when I start talking about things that have to do with race or I get a little nervous, man, because I don't want people to take me the wrong way or think I'm being, because sometimes I'm not an educated dude, man. Sometimes I might say something that sounds totally fucking different from what I'm trying to say, type thing. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be able to have conversations and be straight up with each other and open and honest and get through this shit together. Unite. You know what I'm saying? Unite, man. If we don't unite, I ain't trying to preach to the choir. I'm just saying we've been preaching this divide shit for how long now? We got to find some way.
Right.
And conversation's going to be the first start. You don't just walk up to somebody and just start fucking them like Pop B always does. But, you got to start with a conversation.
I know, man. You know what? You're right. The first step is finding that common ground, because I really believe most average people in the world, we all want the same things out of life. So there has to be some common ground somewhere. I think you have to break past the bubble of their tribalism. Like in their mind, their team has to be right. There has to be right. And I was talking to a dude in the comments of one of my community posts a couple of weeks ago. And I was just trying to get him to be honest and just tell me what he really feels. And he just kept like talking past me and just repeating stuff you hear on like CNN or something like that. you know. And I was like, dude, man, I live in the real world. You're telling me your gas prices aren't high, like you haven't noticed things are missing on the shelves at the grocery store. You wouldn't even acknowledge what I was saying. I think if you could get past that and get them to just open up and be honest and show them, look, man, I'm not trying to one up you. I'm not trying to say I told you so. I'm just trying to get you to agree things are screwed up no matter who's in office. I think if you can get there, you can find common ground. I think you're right, man. We got to get past this partisanship.
Find that foundation. Get past the cosmetic bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey, you think this person's fucking up? I think they're fucking up too. Boom. Let's figure it out. You know what I mean? And start from there.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say this though, man. We've done a lot of shows and we've tapped into some conversations I've never heard nobody else on the internet have. And if they did have it, it ended up being a big ass battle and it went nuts and then it got cut off or something like that. Like we really went there on some serious conversations through this past 2 years. And I gotta say, man, in my comments, in my chats, there ain't a whole lot of wars that go on, man. It's you know. That's one thing that's pretty damn fucking surprising to me, because you know I'm so used to on them touchy subjects, all hell breaks loose. But man, we got a solid fucking group of people. I mean, I get 1,000 views, 1,500 views sometimes on a video that I just know there's gonna be people cussing me out right and left or cussing somebody else out on the panel, and people just talking it out, man. So there's a chance that this shit will fucking work out. You know what I mean? If you look at it like that.
Just got to ignore all the people who are just mad.
Right. Like if you start from a solid foundation and you're like, hey, you've invested enough time in a person to see how they move, how they get down. Like I respect the shit out of all of y'all. So I know I can be me because y'all know who I really am. So even if I say something wrong, y'all know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing, is you got to get past what you hear, you know, like what you literally hear and say, okay, this is what he's trying to say. You know what I mean? You've got to invest in people to understand where they're coming from. Otherwise, you'll never be on the same page.
Yeah.
Man, I've had so many people in comments, like I've been talking to them and they'll just come in and say, and I'm not your brother.
Right.
I'm like, I'm sorry, man. Can we be friends? Can I get a hug or a kiss?
Just stop. And next time they say that, be like, I'm sorry, 2022, sister, listen.
That's what I should do.
Yeah.
You might get in a fist fight after that. I don't know. I'm just saying,
like my bad, Steve. What pronouns you want me to use?
Right.
You got to invest in people, man. At a certain point, just reading books and doing the basic shit is not enough. You've got to actually get out there and live what you're studying, what you're learning, and learn people, because everybody's going to have a different opinion. It doesn't always have to be the same thing. There's a lot of shit that I agree with y'all on like complete opposite side of the spectrum, but it doesn't matter because that's your shit. This is my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How you feel or believe about something doesn't affect what the fuck's going on in my situation. But it's nice to try to reach that understanding so we can have that middle ground. And as long as you got that middle ground, it doesn't matter how far off on the other fucking spectrum you go, because you've got that middle ground.
And it's also like we may have different points, we may think different, but it's some stand-up shit on both sides. It's not like, you know, I'm trying to hurt kids or hurt women or you're trying to do that. Like, you can have difference of opinions, you can have difference, but I'm not gonna fuck with you if you're out here saying that you know we should be dancing half naked in front of kids at schools and teaching elementary school kids that it's okay that if they want to change their private stuff, you know what I'm saying, that there's certain limits that I will be like, nah, you ain't right in the fucking head. You got fucking issues, and I will stand up for that shit till I'm dead. But I know that ain't none of us. But there are some things out here that we really need to stand up to and go hard on, because they're doing some shit that is disgusting, man. But we don't need to get into all that, man. We got about 12 minutes left. Yeah, we got about 10 minutes left, man. What y'all got going on, man? You know what I'm saying? Oh, by the way, chat, if anybody ain't linked up to everybody that's on this panel, in the description, everybody's links in the description. You can just go there and find each one of these brothers.
Absolutely. Press 1.
Press 1.
I felt like saying it.
Hey, I'm just gonna say we're not that old of a nation anymore, so everything's still fresh for a lot of people still.
Right.
Yeah.
As easy it is to say that, hey, you know what? Might be a few more generations. Just saying.
But hey, we started it.
We
started it. You know what I mean? This generation is the biggest generation of change in America that I mean, come on, this country has went through more changes in the past 50 years to 75 years than shit it probably ever has. You know what I'm saying? From people coming together to and I'm not just talking about blacks and whites, I'm talking about from everywhere. I mean, we are the melting pot like crazy. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
I think in the end, a lot of us really will come together. In the end, not the end, but in the resistance, when the hurt hush, when we can't be comfortable anymore, I think that's when a lot of us will all come together.
Right? Because I mean, you look at, if you go through some shit with somebody, even if you fucking hate them, if you've got that bonding experience, you know what I mean? There could be some people out there that would just want to murder me rather than fucking look at me. You know what I mean? But if we're both struggling and I offer that motherfucker a glass of water to keep him alive or keep his kid alive, boom, changes just like that. You know what I mean, the perspective changes, and that's what it takes. Because
you have hardships, man. We all live so easy right now. We go freaking jump off here and play PlayStation, Xbox, and go to freaking fast food, do whatever you want to do. That's why I went and watched Rob Schneider this weekend. He was fucking hilarious. But he had a joke in there, and he was like, everyone's gonna sit there and care right now on the left and right and this and that and all. He goes, yeah, but all of a sudden that place floods and you're sitting on top of the roof of your house waiting to be rescued, and this guy comes by and he's like, hey, I'm here for you. And you're like, hold up, left or right?
Right.
Oh, keep going, man. I'll wait for the next one. Like, that's not gonna happen.
I just learned something about Rob Schneider. He's been in this fight a long time. He's even went to Congress and fought.
You should have heard it. His fucking shit was harsh. It was funny.
I tell you what, though, doesn't it show a symptom in our society when comedians aren't safe to tell jokes anymore? Because that's what a comic's position is in our society. They speak truth to power, and we all have a laugh and say, yeah, he's right. But the way comics have been attacked just in the last 2 years has blown me away, man. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
It shows how rotten everything is.
It used to be the jester would entertain the king and the crowd. You know what I mean? Now we're in a position to where we're celebrating the jester. And that's the problem. Is, oh my God, you entertain me. Let me listen to everything that comes out of your mouth and treat it as fucking gospel. You know what I mean? If you can entertain me and keep my attention for more than 6 seconds, you must be that guy that I should listen to. You know what I mean? That's the kind of mentality most fucking people have anymore. It's because they want that connection for that simple thing. You know what I mean? That's where it comes down to. The laugh. Are you happy? That's all life is about, is are you fucking happy? It's not what you got or what you did. Are you fucking happy? And that's all that matters in your life. And if somebody can make you happy, it doesn't matter what their politics are and all this other shit. But they're just going to keep you laughing all the way into their belief system. And then you get stuck in that. Hey, I want to be happy, so let me just go along with what this person's saying. You know what I mean? You've given credibility to the people who don't deserve it. You know what I mean?
I'll say this. I don't think any of us are actually prepared for what's coming. I know I'm not. I mean, I'm preparing every day, and I know y'all are. But I don't think I haven't seen anyone on YouTube who's prepared for what's coming. I really haven't. I don't think any of us know what hardships are about to befall all of us. Like, Poppy and Josh were saying, we're comfortable, man, and we like our comfort. There's nothing wrong with the comforts of our modern society. It's the cultural part of it that's making it so sick. But that's why I think about my older kids, man. They have no idea what's coming, even though I've preached it to them their whole lives. It's gonna be rough, man. It's like Backwoods used to say, when people can't go to Pizza Hut and get a pizza or McDonald's and get a hamburger, that's when people are going to start freaking out.
What am I supposed to do? Cook your own food? What the fuck are you talking about?
And it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. Like they've already told us it's, and these are the people that they're letting us know straight up, and that's weird to me because I wouldn't think they would do that. But I mean, food shortages, that's coming. Look at all the shit that all these channels have brought you, all these things that have happened. Oh my God, it's so unbelievable. It's too much to think about. That's why most people probably are just like, fuck it, whatever happens, happens. I can't think about all this shit. Yeah. But man, you better right now. You can still go get canned goods. You can still go get some water. You can get ways to store water. Do it. Hey, don't call yourself a prepper. Let's just wipe prepper out of it, you know, because that's nothing but a label. Just get yourself squared away for what's coming, because it's hard right now, and it ain't even winter time yet. At the beginning, man, you're absolutely right, Native. You're absolutely right. Ain't nobody ready. Ain't nobody ready for this.
Europe's about to go through it.
Have you noticed, if you guys noticed this, all of our fast food restaurants, they've started taking items off. Like they'll say, we don't have it, or
yeah.
My daughter and my son went to Taco Bell, and they love to get those freezes or whatever. And the girl told her through the thing, this is what my daughter told me, that they don't have any, they're not going to have any freezes until next year. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Next year? Like,
you know, is that just pushing off, or they know that they're gonna have some? You know what I mean? Like this shit's hard for me to pay attention to. You sit there and you're like, oh, they got shortages. I'm like, I'm good in Missouri, dude. Right. Like, I don't see none of that shit. When I'm like, oh, they're out of one break shit. Yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit, Pop B. Just a tad.
No, I just don't. It's hard. It's hard for me to take some of it serious, and I know it's serious, but it's hard for me to take it serious sometimes when you're staring at it like, man, I'm living good right now, man.
Right.
But see, that's the thing, though, is that's what's great about America, is that even though it is so massive, you have the choice to leave. You don't have to stay in your fucking in your plantation. You know what I mean? If at a certain point you bitch about how bad things are for so long, leave or shut the fuck up, because there's literally nothing stopping you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that simple, but it's one of those things where it doesn't even register to people. I know so many people who have never left a 30-block fucking radius in Kansas City. They've never been outside of city limits. They've never touched the highway that runs right behind their house, because they're like, it's not my neighborhood. What the fuck does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, then why are you complaining about how bad your situation is if you know that route is right there for you, wide the fuck open, and all you have to do is just get on it? And you don't want to do that? I can't feel bad for you complaining about your situation, because you can fucking change it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. But there are things that go along with that.
There's nuance.
There's plenty.
Right. But you know, the same thing remains. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, there is a way. There is a way to better yourself. I feel you 100%.
Yeah.
I ain't disagreeing with you. I just think about it like me. Like, I'm planning on getting the fuck out of this state. And it's probably going to take me another year and a half, 2 years at the most. But I guarantee you I'm going to be bitching for the next 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's the distinction, though, is that you were planning on doing something about it.
Yeah. Yep.
Even planning is doing something, because eventually a plan will get you into an action. But you've got to have that plan. You've got to know that you've got that option. Even if it takes you 10 years to get out of where you're at, as long as you got that plan, you're fucking doing something better than half the people around you, plain and simple. But you got to start with that plan. You can't have any action without that plan to begin with. You know what I mean?
So no doubt.
It's in the same thing. It's the desire to want to change your situation is the fucking problem.
Yeah, don't just sit around whining about it and you ain't ever gonna do anything about it. You just play the pity me shit. Yeah, I get you. Like, nah, that ain't cool. All right, we got a minute. And I'm shutting her down. We'll be at the 2-hour mark. So anybody want to throw anything out there, man? Let anybody know y'all got something coming up. Y'all got anything y'all want to throw out there, man? We gotta do this again, fellas. It's been a while. I missed y'all, man. This was a damn good time, man.
Absolutely.
good
Love
talk.
this shit.
I
good to
will
get
say,
this
shameless plug. If y'all haven't seen Native's deal that he did, his little trailer that he did, I'm just saying, go check it out. It's good shit.
On a
Might
freaking movie.
I know, and he got to cut it off all early, so we don't know what happened next.
Go to the libertytreefellowship.com. You'll get the whole episode.
There you go. There you go. What
I'm
is
just
it?
saying.
Say it again. What is it? What is it?
libertytreefellowship.com.
Check it out, y'all. Check it out, man. They trying to do big things, man. Back these brothers up.
Absolutely.
I'm just Native's trying to give me a run for my money on some Spielberg shit. So I'm gonna be stepping my game up here in a minute, and I'm gonna come at you, sir. I'm gonna come at you.
I'll say this too. There's an episode coming up. Hutch already shot his part like 4 months ago, but I never
15
told Hutch
seconds.
his part in the story doesn't come in for like 2 more episodes.
Salute. We out.